What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of the Forgotten Races Review. Today, at the request of, yet again, Afro Samurai 3847, and again, guys, if you've already requested something in the past, or even if you request a video the week before, there's nothing saying you can't double request. We'll be talking about the Lizardfolk, who appears in the back of the Advanced Race Guide, where we start talking about how to build races of our own. Before we get to that, though, the moment we've all been waiting for, I'm here to announce the winner of our Ollie Art character portrait giveaway. Before I spill exactly who's won, I want to say, just first off, that I was very impressed by everybody's backstory. To speak frankly, I thought I might get 1, 2, maybe if I'm really lucky, 3 replies of like half put together character backstories and maybe a couple of trolls thrown in there, and not character class trolls, I should say, like terrible internet people, just to like really dig in the fact that I opened up myself. It was a really hard decision to pick a winner for this. I had it narrowed down to 3. I wasn't sure who I wanted to win, and again, it was a ridiculously difficult decision. So what I did was I reached out to those 3 people, and I reached out to Ollie to see if maybe for just a little bit more extra money he could give me some kind of deal where everybody could win, and turns out that is what happened. Of course, if I was made of money, every single solitary individual who entered would have won, but as it stands, those top 3, my finalists, if you will, all 3 agreed to, rather than getting a full piece of art with full background and animal companions and characters and stuff, they agreed to a waist-up portrait, and as such, this giveaway has 3 winners. The first of those 3 winners is, from the end of Planar Crossroads, Mr. Colin Lucina for his character, Emerelda, the Kitsune sorcerer, who you can see running around the End of Planar Crossroads playthrough of Rise of the Rune Lords. Ultimately, I think if I had to choose just one person to win this, Colin would have been the one to win, because Colin gave me a 9-page Google Doc. And that's not just backstory, that's not just fluff. I've seen the backstory and the fluff, and I'm role-playing around that backstory and that fluff. The reason I'm choosing Colin as one of my winners is Colin went out of his way to ask the women in his life how society treats them as women compared to how society treats him as a man. Colin is playing a female character and is male. Of course, I'm sure a lot of us have played female characters in the past, but I've never heard of anybody go this far to learn how to portray a character through roleplay more accurately, and I think that's a really big thing for Colin to have done. In addition, we are selecting Torsten Olsen's character, Hell Blackfur, his half-orc shaman, for a similar reason. Olsen reports that this character is one of the most fun and challenging characters he's played in his 15-plus years of playing RPGs, because he has a quick and easy solution to almost every problem, and that helps Olsen as a person, because Olsen claims to overthink everything, and by role-playing this character, it helps him as a person work through this. It helps him, as he says, think in a different way that he is not used to. And that's another part of the character creation that we don't often hear about or see. So by all means, yeah, sure, a half-orc is a technically core race, but as someone who's playing an orc in a campaign on Roll20, I know it's really hard to find character art for an orc that's not just, I'm an angry barbarian monster, ha. So by all means, Olsen, you win as well. Last but not least, for a similar reason, we will be selecting the man who requested the Lizardfolk and the Nagaji videos, Afro Samurai 3847, for his Abyssal Blood Rager, Noah. I may be a little biased on this one because he does reference Nightmare from Soul Calibur and how the character is created, and I'm a huge Soul Calibur nerd. Did you guys know there's going to be a Soul Calibur released for the PC sometime in the 3rd quarter of this year? Yeah, I'm super stoked. Regardless of that, 3847 points out Noah is so similar to himself, and he can't explain it, but it's an outlet and personification of his struggles, and I think that's really great. I think it's awesome for people to come to the table and be able to work through these problems in a healthy, safe environment, rather than to bottle up our problems or worse. So yeah, by all means, man, your Tiefling Blood Rager gets a free bit of art. I hope all 3 of you are super satisfied with what Ollie churns out for you. And again, if I had more money, every single solitary person who could hear my voice that entered would win this contest because I really liked everybody's stuff. This giveaway was announced at 212 subscribers. Anybody who's been following us since the beginning knows that from 53, every time we double, there will be another giveaway. So this channel's next giveaway will take place at 424 subscribers. Presently, we sit at 250. Of course, that's probably really far in Black Dragon Gaming's future. So if you guys want to see these giveaways happen more frequently, do me a huge favor, spread the plague, show your friends, show your gaming groups, help me grow this channel so I can help you guys, win free stuff and also bring my knowledge of the nerd world to the far corners of internet land. As always, this channel is brought to you by patronage, and today, this episode of The Forgotten Race Review was brought to you in part by Joshua King. Josh actually, in a campaign we shared together, did play a Lizardfolk. I haven't really been able to gauge the power of the race because he played it with a template because we're munchkins like that. Regardless, Josh, Genova Northstar is in my thoughts as we move forward making this video. I hope I can live up to the reputation of Mr. Silver Dragon Punchy. And as always, thank you for your time. Thank you for your support. It means the world. And again, guys, if you'd like to see this channel grow, if you'd like to see me be able to hand out more free stuff in greater quantities, the number one way to do that is by supporting this channel on Patreon. If that's something you might be interested in, as always, the link is in the description. So reptilian humanoids comprise a common motif in mythology, folklore, sci-fi, and even like conspiracy theories. This includes things like the Naga that we talked about last week, the ancient Egyptian crocodile-headed god Sobek, and even some jinn in Islamic mythology were described as alternating between human and serpentine forms. In the tabletop world, the Lizard Men first officially appeared as part of the original D&D game in the 1975 Greyhawk supplement booklet authored by Gary Gygax himself. The Lizard Man artwork that has appeared on the inside front cover of that supplement was used as part of the official TSR logo from 75 through 78. They were described as aquatic monsters with a rude intelligence that were fond of eating human flesh, and they also appear in the first edition of the Monster Manual, where they're described as a semi-aquatic creature that dwells underwater and are omnivorous, but again, prefers the flesh of humans. These guys stick with us all the way to 5th edition, and again, obviously, Pathfinder as well. In Pathfinder, the Lizardfolk are a proud and powerful reptilian predator that make their communal homes in scattered villages deep within swamps and marshes. Uninterested in colonization of the dry lands and content with the simple weapons and rituals that have served them well for millennia, Lizardfolk are viewed by many other races as backwater savages. Within their isolated communities, Lizardfolk are actually a vibrant people filled with tradition and an oral history. The average Lizardfolk stands anywhere from 6 to 7 feet tall and weighs somewhere between 200 and 250 pounds. Their muscles are covered in scales of gray, green, or brown. Some breeds have short dorsal spikes or brightly colored frills, and all of them swim well by moving with flicks of their powerful 4-foot-long tails. While completely at home in the water, they breathe air, and they return to their clustered mound dwellings to breed and to sleep. As their reptilian blood makes them sluggish in the cold, most Lizardfolk hunt and work during the day and retreat to their homes at night to curl up with other tribesmen in the shared warmth of large fires. The Lizardfolk's standoffish demeanor, staunch rejection of civilization's gifts, and legendary ferocity in battle causes them to be viewed negatively by most humanoids. These traits stem from good reasons, however, as their own slow rate of reproduction is no match for the warm-blooded humanoids, and those tribes who don't defend their wetland territories to the last breath quickly find themselves overwhelmed by what they see as the mammalian hordes. As for their tendency to consume the bodies of dead friends and enemies alike, the practical Lizardfolk are quick to point out that life is hard in the swamp and nothing should go to waste, even, the body of your dead cousin. Down to the character sheets, a Lizardfolk gets a +2 to its strength and a +2 to its con with no negs. They are humanoids with a reptilian subtype, size category medium, with a base speed of 30 feet. A Lizardfolk begins play speaking its racial language only and has no recourse for any other languages it might learn at first level with high intelligence. Yet another nail in the coffin for languages, in my opinion, because although it can be fun to play a character who doesn't speak common, by that same token, it's also sometimes unplayable, especially in like a pickup group. You're going to come off as being like standoffish or even just downright a jerk because you're just sitting there in the corner. Oh, I don't speak your language, man. I'm sorry. That sucks. Lizardfolk have a tough, scaly skin, which grants them a +1 natural armor bonus, and they have a swim speed of 30 feet, which thus gains them a +8 racial bonus on swim checks. Lizardfolk have a bite attack that does damage equivalent to a creature 2 size categories lower than them. The bite is a primary attack, and they also receive 2 claws, which are primary attacks based on the creature's size, 1d4 for medium creatures. That's all we got, though I will note that there is an entry on D20 PFSRD that says the lizardfolk presented here is said to dwell in a swampy environment. Lizardfolk tribes can exist in other environments as well, but they lose their swim speed and instead gain a climb speed of 15 feet. These guys ring the bell at a whopping, super overpowered 8 RP. Now, some people might call that balanced or fair for a low magic game, but there's no recourse for even if I'm playing a Lizardfolk wizard, a Wizardfolk, if you will. I don't learn anything but my own native tongue at first, and must invest in linguistics. Maybe not a problem for the wizard, but certainly a problem for, like, the Lizardfolk ranger, to be able to speak to the party, and that can be really rough. 3847 did say something along the lines of the fact that he thought this race might need a little shot in the arm, and yeah, you know, I tend to agree here. For starters, let's nix the fact that their bite attack does damage for 2 size categories smaller. Let's just make it a 1d6. That's not a whole lot. That's short sword plus strength and a half, essentially. That's not going to, like, tip the game too hard, and even if these guys are trying to focus on a natural attack build, 1d6, 1d4, 1d4 is not a whole lot. It's not that scary, and at higher level play, even with things that will bump that damage dice up, there's going to be a lot of builds that out-damage you. There's no reason we need to nerf our bite attack in this way. In addition, if we're going to be really finicky on languages, let's spend the 1 or 2 RP necessary to at least let these guys be able to learn Common, give them another list of languages that they can pick from, I don't know, Draconic, Sylvan, Aklo, Giant, I could see, Boggard, you know, like, generally speaking, monster languages. That still makes them feel, quote-unquote, uncivilized, but it makes them more playable at the same time. One thing that also comes to mind for these guys to me, and we don't see it as often as I'd like to, is we should see some sort of like variant racial heritage for the Lizardfolk, because lizards can live and do live on planet Earth all over the place. We've seen racial heritages for tieflings, Azamars, skinwalkers, and even as of Blood of the Coven for the changelings. Why not the Lizardfolk? Off the top of my head, maybe a desert-dwelling offshoot of Lizardfolk that don't take penalties for hanging out in hot environments. Perhaps a kind with a venomous bite, or maybe even like a tail they can sting with. Maybe a kind that is truly amphibious and can breathe underwater. We could go even as far as to slapping more natural attacks on these guys. Give them a slapping tail. We see that so rarely on our characters, and there's no reason to not. We have a tail that's 4 feet long. Let's weaponize the thing. It's only fair. I do also agree with the climb speed for some Lizardfolk offshoots that might live nowhere near the water. Also, we could do maybe some sort of like bonus to stealth. Stealth is a class skill for maybe some kind of like chameleon variant. The list goes on and on and on and on. And that's part of what makes Pathfinder fun, is we do have concrete rules for building races, and I think it's ironic that the Lizardfolk appears in that book with so little to it. But what do you guys think about the Lizardfolk? Have you guys played one before? Have you guys ever GM'd for one? Have you used them as monster encounters? If so, let me know in the comments below, and as always, we'll keep that conversation going. Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. The next episode of the Forgotten Race Review drops next Monday.